Do you know that for almost the entire history of Western civilization, this month has been a holy time? The Druids, winter solstice, Hanukkah. The Romans converted Saturnalia into Christmas. Imagine that. Christ wasn't even born on this day. Maybe not even 1,997 years ago. So no one knows for sure when the millennium really begins. Ends. How much time is left?
Not even the group.
It's the midnight of the century.
Will there be a dawn?
We're working to assure there will be. Possible futures exist like branches on a tree. Most of us only see the path we're on, but some people, the gifted ones, see those branches. To the midnight of the century.
Midnight of the Century is considered by many to be their favorite episode of Millennium. And it's hard to fault them on that point. I mean, it wasn't number one on my top 5 list, but it was in my top 5, and it very easily could have been my favorite episode. It's one of those episodes in the second season that lays out so much information and does so much on so many different levels that in my mind, when I think of Millennium, I often think of clips from this episode as part of the overall experience of what was Millennium, especially during the second season. Now, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode, and I kind of had an idea for what I was going to say, because what I often do when doing these videos is I put in my head this idea of what the episode is about. Then I go and I watch it again, and then I come back and I recollect my thoughts, and then we work on one of these videos. But what happened was this time, when I sat down to watch it, of course, I was thinking that it's the Christmas episode. There's all the stuff about, Frank's dad and the gift his mother had and how it's similar to what his daughter is beginning to develop. And, there's a lot of stuff about the relationship with Frank and Catherine and how that's kind of mirroring what happened with his father and mother and, all that kind of stuff. But there was something else that really kind of stuck out to me. Something that really... It's hard to explain, but we'll see what we can do here.
Legend has it ghosts walk in churchyards on Christmas Eve. Well, actually, I misspoke myself. They're not ghosts precisely. They're fetches. Souls of those who are destined to die in the coming year, making their way to church in search of those who will soon be their companions. Of course, it usually happens at midnight.
Who are you?
But those blessed with a special perception might not have to wait till nightfall.
Why would that concern me?
There's no telling whose face you might see. Why put off till tomorrow what should be done today? It is, after all, the midnight of the century.
Now, one of the things about Millennium is, of course, this idea that the end of the world is coming. There's some sort of apocalypse. There's some sort of, revelation event that people talk about. Some sort of grand change in humanity that people are looking forward to. And the Millennium Group is there to somehow, I don't know if they're here to stop it, or if they're just here to control it, or what exactly the deal is. But obviously there's something going on with that group, and that's part of what makes the show so interesting. And Frank's gift is just the catalyst for every interesting thing that happens in this show. Chris Carter said that when he originally developed the character, these insights, these flashes, were just supposed to be a trick to give you an idea of the mental process he was going through. And over time, it developed into this idea that Frank has some sort of ability, some sort of power. And what amazed me when going back and watching this episode is how much that power really seems to develop in this episode and a lot of the episodes right around it. Now, Frank's daughter has an interesting gift very similar to what Lara Means has and what Frank's own mother had, and that was the ability to see angels, have the angels actually communicate with them. Does this make them prophets? Who knows? But what sticks out in my mind is this thread running through this episode that's it seems particularly strong here. This idea that certain people within humanity are special. They have this special gift, this spiritual ability. They see things differently, they understand things differently. Whether that makes them prophets or not is a conversation we can have another day. But it really sets them apart from the rest of humanity and puts them in this special path in which they must do specific things in order to fulfill their destiny. And what's so amazing about that is how it really seems to mirror something else.
Jordan gave me this morning. She told me that her grandmother helped her draw it.
So?
Not my mother, Frank. Yours. I asked her to tell me the truth, that she'd drawn it herself, but she just stood there with her arms folded, staring at me.
You're just a kid. You didn't see nothing. It's all in your head.
She wouldn't back down.
You know, Jordan, she's sensitive.
Telling me that she colors with her dead grandmother is a little bit more than sensitive.
Come on, you know, Jordan. She's got a gift. You can't suppress it.
Your gift gave you a nervous breakdown. This gift makes you see horrible images. It's turned you away from your family, from your daughter. It's caused you to turn toward the MillenniuM group. Frank, you never even consider that this gift that you have could be lying to you. Because you don't see yourself withdrawing from your family, hiding behind your ability.
Now I know you're thinking, now wait a minute, just before you popped that last video, you said it mirrors something else. What are you talking about? This is the point of my video today. See, MillenniuM is actually very similar to another story. Let's think about this for a minute. You've got a villain, a grand villain, someone who's, really pretty evil and, out for her own sick, twisted goals. And then you've got someone else who's bringing people together, someone who's reaching out and forming a group, a coalition of people. And you've got someone like Frank, who's, shall we say, his eyes work a little differently. He sees the world in a different way because of the way his eyes are able to perceive the world around him. And then there's Lara Means, and she has this ability to also see the world differently. The way she's able to grasp with thoughts, with people's intentions. You know what? I actually think Frank and Lara should be reversed here. Doesn't work out quite as nicely, but you get the idea. And then, of course, you've got lots of other characters going around here. There's the old man, there's Rodecker, there's a whole cast of characters, but really, this is a superhero team. These people have special superpowers. They're building heroes. I mean, really, heroes. Think about heroes and MillenniuM. Save the world, save the cheerleader. You got, the cheerleader. I'm having a fanboy moment. Oh, Lara Means. Oh, ho, 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 ho! Alright, so maybe it was a little over the top, but I thought it was a point worth making. And I think it's an interesting thing that you can see developing, especially in an episode like this. Now, don't forget that next week is Christmas, but we're going to still be here with another video for BackToFrankBlack.com. So make sure you join us next week, and everybody, Merry Christmas.